Hello, 7th grade. This is lesson 36. Our objective for today is to learn about ratios and about sample spaces. Well, first of all, you may already know this, but a ratio is a way to describe relationship between two numbers with division. And there are four basic ways to describe a ratio. Most time we show you the first two of the last one, but this is another way as well. So the first one is with words. We can say 1 to 2. 1 to 2. As a fraction, 1 over 2. As a decimal, we take 1 and divide it by 2 and get 0.5. Or with a colon, and you read this the same as you read that one, 1 to 2. So this is example 1. It says, in a class of 28 students, there are 12 boys. What is the boy-girl ratio? So first of all, we know that there are 28 students, and we know that there are 12 boys. This is total. So if I want to find out how many girls there are, I'm going to subtract the number of boys from the total. I'd get 16. So if we want boys to girls, notice here's my boys number, here's my girls number. So I would say 12 to 16. However, we want to reduce those down. I can divide both of those by 4. So if I divide this by 4 and this by 4, I'd end up with 3 to 4. So part A is 3 to 4. And then notice this one, part B, says what is the girl to boy ratio. So now it wants the girl number first, boy number second. Now I could do this 16 to 12 and then reduce again, or I could just say, hey, this is boys to girls, so girls to boys would be 4 to 3. So part B is 4 to 3. Now you could have written those in any of those other forms, right? We could have said 3:4 or 3 to 4 or 0.75, which is 3 divided by 4. You could have done any one of those and you would have gotten would have been counted as correct. Okay. Now here's example 2. It says the team won 4/7 of its game and lost the rest. What is the team's win-loss ratio? So first of all, we know that there are 4 wins. And to find out the number of losses, I'm going to say the total, which is 7, minus the number of wins, right? This is total, minus the wins. And notice it says they won this many and lost the rest, so there's no ties in there. So this would be 3 lost. 3 lost. So if I want win to lose ratio, I'm going to say 4, right? There's 4 wins, 3 losses. So I'm going to say 4 to 3. Alright, now in lesson 14, we learned about expressing the probability as a fraction. And if you don't remember any of that, you can go back and review over that. But remember that the probability is the number of favorable outcomes divided by the number of possible outcomes, or the total number of outcomes. And with some things, it's pretty easy. Like if you're talking about the probability of flipping a heads, right? There's just 1 on the top, and there's 2 options on the bottom. But as you get more and more complicated sample spaces, or different numbers of possibilities, it starts becoming a little bit harder. So today we're going to be talking about the sample space. And the sample space is just simply all the possible outcomes. So this denominator is what we call the sample space. The list of all possible outcomes is called the sample space. Alright, so when we write these, we want to do these squiggly brackets. And we want to list all of the possible outcomes, if that's possible. So flipping a coin, we have heads, or we have tails. And then we close our squiggly brackets. Those are called braces. Some people put them on their teeth. The next one is rolling a dice. So remember, a dice is a cube. Sometimes we call that a number cube. So we'd say the first option is a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or 6. Those are all the possible numbers that you could roll. And then this last one here says picking one letter from the alphabet. So with this one, it's a lot of letters. So we'll just kind of start that off and say A, B, C, D, and you can go do, those ellipses. Say it keeps going, and then we can go W, X, Y, Z to show where the pattern ends at. So you can put those ellipses there to show, hey, look. And so maybe if you were doing something like the numbers between 1 and 50, you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, dot, 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 48, 49, 50. Now sometimes the sample space gets a little bit more complicated, and let's look here at example 5 to see an example of that. It says a coin flipped and the spinner is spun. So we're going to flip a coin, and then we're going to spin a spinner, and we're going to see how many different outcomes we can get. Now remember, as we flip a coin, we could get a heads, or we could get a tails. I'm just going to use a letter to abbreviate that. So let's say if I flip a heads, I actually have 4 different options after that. That is, I could get a 1, a 2, a 3, or 4. So this would be a 1, a 2, a 3, or 4. So my 4 options thus far would be H1, H2, H3, or H4. But notice also I could get that 1, 2, 3, or 4 if I flip the tails first. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be tails 1, tails 2, tails 3, tails 4. So my sample space would be the set of all those outcomes. That was a pretty horrible one. So H1, H2, H3, H4, T1, T2, T3, T4. That would be my sample space. All the possible outcomes that I could get. Alright, feel free to watch this again if you need to. Your homework is on page 261. You can do all the 36s, all the 35s, and then 10 more of your choice.